If your entryway is just a pile of shoes, a coat draped over a chair, and a stack of mail nobody's opened, this video is going to change that, as long as you actually watch it to the end. Think about the last time you walked into someone's house and it just felt nice. Chances are it wasn't the living room that did it. It was the first 5 seconds, the entryway. That's the room that decides whether a guest relaxes or silently judges before they've even taken their shoes off. Here's the thing almost nobody realizes. The entryway is usually the smallest, most overlooked space in the entire house, which is exactly why it's the cheapest one to transform. You're not redoing a whole room, you're fixing a 5 by 5 foot zone, and the visual payoff is completely disproportionate to the effort. Small space, small budget, massive first impression. The same 9 moves show up over and over in every entryway that goes from dump zone to boutique hotel lobby, and every single one of them costs less than $40. And here's the twist. One of these 9 isn't a purchase at all. It's a 2-minute habit. It costs $0, and without it, the other 8 upgrades barely register. I'll tell you exactly what it is at number 1. Here are 9 entryway ideas that make your home look rich instantly. We're counting down from 9 to 1, cheapest impact to biggest impact, so stick around, because number 1 is the one guests notice first and compliment last. Number 9, a woven doormat instead of the builder one. Nobody thinks about the doormat. It's not decor in most people's minds, it's just the thing that catches dirt, so it gets ignored until it's flat, gray, frayed at the edges, and honestly, kind of gross. Here's the real problem with skipping it. The doormat is the very first texture a guest's eyes register, before they've even crossed the threshold, and a thin, faded mat quietly tells them nobody thought about this space. It's a first impression that happens before the first impression. Compare that to a thick, chunky knit or core doormat in a neutral tone. It has weight, texture, and shadow. It looks like something a designer picked, not something that came free with the house. And the swap takes about 10 seconds. You're literally just putting a new mat where the old one was. Here's what to do instead. Buy a core or chunky knit woven doormat in a neutral tone. Natural, black, or charcoal all work. And place it directly on top of or in place of the old one at your front door. If you want to go a step further, get a second, thinner mat for just inside the door, so shoes have somewhere to land before they hit the floor. Total cost, $18 to $32. Number 8 fixes the wall everyone walks past, but nobody decorates. Number 8, a single, oversized mirror. Most entryways have at least one bare wall, and most people just walk past it every day without registering it as a problem. That's because statement mirror sounds expensive, like something you'd commission, not something you'd pick up on a random errand. It isn't. But here's the real problem with leaving that wall empty. In a small space, blank wall equals unfinished space. Your eye has nowhere to land, so the whole entryway feels like a hallway instead of a room. One large mirror flips that completely. It does 3 things at once. It bounces whatever light is in the space around, it visually doubles the depth of a tight entryway, and it gives guests an actual reason to pause for 2 seconds and check themselves before heading further into the house, which, whether people admit it or not, they always want to do. Here's what to do instead. Buy one oversized, simply framed mirror from a budget home store or marketplace. A plain black or wood frame works with almost anything, and either lean it against the wall for that relaxed, styled look, or hang with a single wall hook if floor space is tight. Total cost, $30 to $40. Number 7 is the fastest fix for the coats that never had a real home. Number 7, matching wall hooks in one finish. Most entryways have whatever hooks came with the house. One plastic hook here, a random nail there, maybe none at all. So coats and bags end up draped over the nearest chair instead. Nobody plans for this to happen. It just accumulates over months. But here's the real problem with mismatched or missing hardware. Visual clutter from things that don't match is one of the fastest ways to make even a small, otherwise tidy space look chaotic, because your eye can't settle on anything. A row of identical hooks, evenly spaced, does the opposite. It looks intentional. It looks like someone planned this wall, even if the plan took 10 minutes on a Sunday. And it solves the actual coat problem at the same time, which is the real reason people end up piling things on furniture in the first place. Here's what to do instead. Buy a 4 or 5 pack of matching wall hooks in one finish. Matte black and brushed brass are the two safest, most expensive-looking options, and mount them at even intervals at coat height, roughly 5 to 6 feet off the floor. Total cost, $14 to $22. Number 6 is the smell nobody sees, but everybody notices.
Number 6, a console table candle or diffuser. Most people spend all their energy on how the entryway looks and completely forget it also has a smell, which is a strange blind spot because smell is actually the sense that hits guests first. Before their eyes have even adjusted, their nose has already formed an opinion. But here's the real problem with ignoring that. An entryway can look completely put together, mirror, hooks, doormat, everything, and still feel subtly off if it smells like nothing, or worse, if it smells like last night's dinner drifting in from the kitchen. A neutral, low-key scent fixes this in seconds, and it doesn't need to be strong. The goal isn't, wow, what's that smell? It's for a guest to just feel like the whole house is clean and cared for, without being able to say exactly why. Here's what to do instead. Buy one neutral, unfussy scented candle. Think fresh linen, light woods, or something subtly clean rather than heavy or floral, or a small reed diffuser if you'd rather not deal with flames, and place it on the console table or a nearby shelf. Total cost, $10 to $18. Number 5 is the storage piece that finally gives shoes somewhere to go.
Number 5, a slim console table or bench. Most entryways have zero actual furniture, just open floor space that shoes, bags, backpacks, and mail slowly colonize over weeks until nobody remembers a time it looked any different. This is the one people notice as messy without ever identifying the actual cause. But here's the real problem. A space with nothing in it has nowhere for your things to land, so everything defaults to the floor. And floor clutter is what your brain reads as messy faster than almost anything else. A slim console table or narrow bench solves this at the root. It gives every item, keys, bag, mail, sunglasses, a designated home above floor level, and it instantly makes the entryway read as a real room instead of leftover hallway space. Even a narrow 12-inch deep table against the wall is enough. You're not trying to fit a dining table in there. Here's what to do instead. Check secondhand marketplaces, thrift stores, or budget home retailers for a narrow console table or entryway bench best fits for space. These show up used constantly because people upgrade them often, and use it as the single dedicated surface for keys, bags, and mail. Total cost, under $40 secondhand or on marketplace. Number 4 is the light that changes the mood of the entire entrance.
Number 4, a warm table lamp instead of overhead light. Most entryways run on a single harsh overhead bulb, and nobody questions it because technically it works. You can see, the light turns on, job done. But here's the real problem with leaving it at that. Flat overhead light is what hospitals and office hallways use, and it makes even a beautifully decorated entryway feel clinical and cold the second someone walks in after dark. A warm table lamp changes the entire mood of the space in one move. Instead of one flat source lighting everything evenly, you get a soft pool of warm light at eye level, which is exactly the kind of layered lighting interior designers rely on. It reads as intentional, not default, and it makes the whole entrance feel welcoming instead of functional. Here's what to do instead. Buy a small, budget table lamp. Even a secondhand one works if the shade is in good shape. Fit it with a warm toned bulb instead of a bright white one, and place it on your console table or a nearby shelf. Turn it on instead of the overhead light whenever guests are coming. Total cost, $18 to $35. Number 3 is the smallest upgrade with the biggest, wait, what changed effect. Number 3, a tray for keys and mail. Most entryway surfaces, a console table, a shelf, even the top of a shoe cabinet, end up covered in loose keys, unopened mail, sunglasses, a stray receipt, maybe a hair tie. None of it is wrong to have there. It's all stuff you actually use every day. But here's the real problem. Clutter without containment is what makes a surface look messy, even when every single item on it is legitimately useful. Your brain can't tell the difference between organized essentials and random pile unless there's a visual boundary. That's all a tray does. It draws a boundary. The exact same keys and mail, inside a tray instead of loose on the table, suddenly read as styled instead of dumped there. It's one of the cheapest, fastest visual upgrades on this entire list because you're not even buying new stuff to put on the surface. You're just containing what's already there. Here's what to do instead. Buy one shallow decorative tray. Wood, marble look resin, or matte metal all work, and every single loose item that currently sits directly on the console or shelf goes inside the tray from now on. Nothing loose on the bare surface. Total cost, $12 to $20. Number 2 is the greenery that makes any entryway feel alive.
Number 2, a faux or low-maintenance plant. A lot of entryways skip plants entirely, and it's usually for one of two reasons. There's barely any natural light back there, or the person's already killed enough plants to know better than to try again. Both are completely fair. But here's the real problem with a plant-free entryway. No matter how nice the furniture, the lighting, and the styling are, a space with zero greenery can still feel sterile, almost showroom-like, because plants are one of the strongest visual signals that a home is actually lived in and cared for, not just decorated. The good news is you don't need real plants, and you definitely don't need bright light. A realistic faux plant solves the light problem completely, and if you do want something real, a handful of species are basically impossible to kill, even in a dim corner. Here's what to do instead. Buy one realistic faux plant in a simple pot. A fiddle leaf, snake plant, or olive tree style all look convincing from a few feet away. Or, if you want the real thing, a low-light tolerant plant, like a pothos or ZZ plant, and place it on the floor beside the console table, or directly on top of it if it's a smaller variety. Total cost, $15 to $30. Number 1 isn't a purchase. It's the habit that makes the other 8 actually visible.
Number 1, clearing the floor down to 0 loose items. This is the one I teased at the start. The move that costs absolutely nothing, and the one almost nobody actually does, because entryway floors don't get cluttered on purpose. It happens one dropped bag at a time, one pair of kicked-off shoes at a time, until months later the floor is basically a storage unit, and nobody remembers deciding that. Here's the real problem with a cluttered floor. It overrides everything else on this list. You can have the woven doormat, the statement mirror, the matching hooks, the nice scent, the console table, the warm lamp, the styled tray, and the plant. Every single upgrade in place, done correctly, and the entryway will still look messy and cheap if there are shoes, bags, backpacks, and random boxes sitting on the floor. Floor clutter is the loudest visual signal in any room, and it drowns out every quieter upgrade around it. Clearing the floor down to 0 loose items is what actually lets everything else you just spent money on get noticed. It's the difference between I did all this work and it still looks messy, and wait, this looks like a completely different house. Here's what to do instead. Walk through and move every shoe, bag, backpack, and stray item currently on the entryway floor into a closet, a basket under the console, or a shoe cabinet, anywhere off the floor, and make it a 2-second daily habit going forward. Nothing touches the floor. Everything has a spot. Total cost, $0.
If you've never looked at your entryway as an easy upgrade project, that's completely normal. It's usually the space people decorate last, if they decorate it at all. It's small, it's not seen the way a living room is, and it always feels like there's a more important room to fix first. But it's also the room that shapes how every guest feels about your entire home in the first 10 seconds, before they've seen anything else. 8 of these upgrades cost under $40. Several of them cost closer to $15 to $20. And the one that matters most, the floor, costs nothing at all. The entryways that pull this off aren't the ones with the biggest renovation budget. They're the ones with a clean, clear floor, matching hardware, warm lighting instead of flat overhead light, and a surface that isn't trying to hold 6 different things at once. Which of these 9 are you trying first? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more small upgrades that punch way above their price tag, subscribe, because there's a lot more of this coming. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.